Hello, welcome to the Sobriety Bestie podcast. My name is Kirsten, and today we're going to be talking about, did Bill Wilson, the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, get sober by taking LSD? For some reason, this is a rumor that's flying around the internet, in and out of people's minds, and I have seen it a lot in the comments about Bill Wilson got sober on LSD. And I would just like to say that a quick Google can dispel this myth. No, of course, Bill Wilson did not actually get sober on LSD. It's literally impossible because Bill got sober in December of 1934. And LSD was first synthesized in 1938, 4 years later. But even after that, until 1943, that LSD was discovered to have its psychedelic hallucinogenic properties. So it's a literal impossibility that Bill Wilson got sober on LSD. It was not a thing yet. So no, Bill Wilson did not get sober on LSD. But why are people thinking and saying that? Why is that rumor spreading around? Yes, Bill Wilson did have hallucinogens as part of his treatment in the Towns Hospital, which was essentially his rehab process. The hallucinogen that Bill Wilson had was the Belladonna treatment. I did a video on that. I'll put it up here if you want to watch it. And so, yes, Bill Wilson was on hallucinogens, the Belladonna treatment, which is typically administered, I believe, every hour on the hour for about 50 hours. So about 2 full days, you're getting more doses of this. And so, yes, other things were happening at that time too. Bill Wilson was also had members of the Oxford group, cult religion, including Ebby Thatcher, inside the hospital room, indoctrinating him, proselytizing to him, preaching to him about the Oxford practices and principles. And so I'll put a video up here if you want to check out a little bit more about how Bill got into the Oxford group while he was on the hallucinogens Belladonna when he was getting sober. So a lot of factors came to play. They were also proselytizing to Bill for a year prior to that, so he had already been getting indoctrinated into the Oxford group cult religion before he was even in his treatment center when he had the hallucinogen Belladonna treatment. Now, another reason why people might think that Bill Wilson got sober on LSD was because he actually did take LSD. So that's actually true, that he did do LSD in his sobriety. And whether or not you consider taking LSD sober or not, I don't know. It's not really relevant to this conversation, and anybody can have their opinion. It doesn't matter what the answer is, really. I think we all got to think for ourselves and just live our lives. And if you had a problem with alcohol and you were able to get sober and that was really important to you to be abstinent from alcohol or to moderate your alcohol, that's a win. It doesn't matter if you're doing psychedelics or not, or plant medicine or whatever. To me, that's like separate. I know when I got indoctrinated into like recovery culture, like in rehab, I was told that all of it is bad and you can't ever do any of it. And I just don't think that way anymore. I don't look at psychedelics as in that category anymore because they can be such healing. Yeah, there's certain experiences that I've had on psychedelics. I've only really had like 3 intense like hero dose kind of experiences with psychedelics. One of them was on mushrooms. I'll put that up here. My very first experience on psychedelic mushrooms. It was an accidental hero's dose because it was before I knew what psychedelics were and we ate them all. We didn't know. We just ate a bunch of mushrooms and wow. Yeah. And so it's like I unlocked some secrets to the universe or something. I came back from that. I had a spiritual experience and I came back a changed person. And so that was when I was 16 years old. So it was very, very powerful for me. And then I went and did ayahuasca about 2.5 years ago. And I'll put a video up here about that if you want to check that out. And that was really powerful as well. I do not like psychedelics. They honestly, personally, it's not fun for me. I like reality. And yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, they're brutal. I find them pretty brutal, but I also find them as very potent healers and teachers. And there's no way that the lessons that I got from those experiences, which I'm so grateful for, that I could have gotten from any other modality or any other experience or meditating or any other tool or technique. And so I feel like they do have their place for the people who feel led to do them. Of course, there's risks with doing psychedelics, right? Depending upon your genetics or whatever. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if people should do them or not. I don't have an opinion on that. But what I do know is that on ayahuasca, I had two very powerful experiences. One was, it really sucked. It was like basically a 10-hour mindfuck that was brutal, but it did rewire my brain in a way where I have not been the same since, in a very positive way for me. There were huge benefits to going through these experiences, which I find personally, I find them quite difficult at the time, but I find them so rewarding like after. So he was like a leader in the psychedelic and healing thought or culture. So Bill Wilson did take LSD in the 1950s when he was a couple decades into his sobriety. So I think he was like 20, 22 years sober, something like that. So this was not when he got sober. He got sober in 34. And in the 1950s, because LSD had to be invented first or synthesized first and discovered its properties. So when he did do LSD, I believe it was at the VA Center in Los Angeles with Aldous Huxley of all people. And it was more in what we would call today of psychedelic assisted psychotherapy. I think it's well known that Bill had a lot of challenges. He had a lot of traumas that he experienced in his childhood. He was depressed, it seems, from everything that I've read points to that Bill was dealing with a lot of depression and mental health issues. So I think that's great that Bill chose to do LSD. It was in a medical context, and I think he was onto something there. I also love what we know now about psychedelics and addiction. There was somebody who came to the ayahuasca center in Peru. I went down to the Amazon, and he was doing it with the hopes of helping him drink less or get sober, and it worked for him. And so I think, ooh, that gives me the chills. Yeah, I just feel like there's things about psychedelics. Now, I'm not sure about LSD and sobriety. I haven't looked into that. I haven't talked to people about that. I've been sober since 2009, so I don't really talk about psychedelics that often in my life. It's been a while. When I did mushrooms, it was in the 90s, so I haven't done mushrooms since the 90s. That's not really my vibe, but I do think that they're powerful, potent healers. I do think that they are a tool that some people do get sober from, and they do help people get sober. I've read a lot about ketamine-assisted psychotherapy and how with a specific kind of psychotherapy with a specific dose of ketamine, that the brain can, in a way, it sounded like from the research papers that I read, almost as if this is a metaphor, almost as if it can like unhook, part of the addiction can unhook and it can rewire our brain. So I feel very excited. That gives me the chills as well. I feel really excited about the medicinal properties, the healing properties of psychedelics, the potential of it for things like alcohol addiction and things that are under the alcohol addiction, like whether it's trauma or mental health challenges or whatever else. So the answer is no. It's literally impossible that Bill did LSD to get sober, just like he did not get sober from watching TikToks, because TikTok wasn't a thing. LSD wasn't a thing. Maybe he was on TikTok and LSD at the same time. Is that how he got sober? No. So no, Bill Wilson did not get sober on LSD, but yes, he did do it a couple of decades into his sobriety as part of a healing experience that he was doing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? What do you think about psychedelics and sobriety? What do you think about psychedelics and healing? Things like childhood trauma, any kind of trauma, mental health challenges, or getting sober in and of itself. Did you get sober from psychedelics? Did psychedelics help you reduce your drinking? Let's have a juicy, fun, deep conversation in the comments. I love hearing everyone's perspective from all around the world, what's working for you. And this one I feel is something that's really cool. And do people get sober from LSD? Is that a thing? It probably is. That's probably part of the reason why the rumors spread. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to hear about the craziest night of my life, which was my third day down at the Amazon in Peru doing ayahuasca, I will post that video here if you want to watch about, yeah, it was super healing. I finally understood what light codes mean. I was like, is this what those spiritual people mean about light codes? I was having an experience. So yeah, here's the video, and let me know in the comments if you've done ayahuasca and how that was for you. All right, bye.